Hello everyone, and welcome to the finale of Road to Infinity War, the series where I go and review all of the MCU movies in time for Avengers Infinity War. Now, this is going to be the last video that I post before I go and see Avengers Infinity War. After this video is up, I'm going to stay off of all social media to avoid the movie getting spoiled because I'm not going to be able to see it until next week. But we did it. We watched every single movie, all 18 of them. I reviewed all of them, and now here we are, through all the good and all the bad, and I decided, you know what, let's do a recap of everything that happened. So I put together a tier list of all the movies. So here I have compiled all of the movies with their scores. So let's start off with the amazing movies. We have Captain America the Winter Soldier, easily the best Captain America movie in its trilogy. Wasn't a huge fan of Captain America Civil War, and I thought Captain America First Avenger was alright. But Captain America Winter Soldier, easily the best one. Best tone, best action, best story, best villain, all of that. Spider-Man Homecoming, it's great. It's another Spider-Man movie. I love Spider-Man. And I thought it was just an overall well-made movie. Guardians of the Galaxy is a special movie because it was the first MCU movie to really take risks. And I overall thought it was a better movie than Guardians of the Galaxy. The humor was a lot more funny. Even though it did have a worse villain and a worse finale, I still think that the music and the special effects and the cinematography and all that were on par with Guardians of the Galaxy 2. What really ruined Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and made the first one better was the comedy, because comedy in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 wasn't that great, so that's why I think that the first movie is better. Thor Ragnarok, easily the best Thor movie. There's really not much debate here for it. I think everybody can agree that Thor Ragnarok is the best Thor movie. It did a lot of things. It reinvented all the characters. You know, it had a lot of comedy, which I guess it kind of worked for this movie because it wasn't taking itself seriously at all. But great music, great action, great cinematography, all that. Black Panther isn't my favorite Marvel movie, but there's no denying that a lot of hard work and talented people put effort into this movie, and I did enjoy it. I thought it had one of the best villains in the MCU, and I think that it deserves to be on the list with the amazing movies. Now let's move over to the great movies. So they're not amazing, but they're still up there. So first off, we have Iron Man, movie that started it all. The only reason the MCU is the way it is pretty much today. It's a great movie, but I think that other movies in the MCU are better, so that's why I gave it my score of great. Then we have Ant-Man, which is also pretty good, but it's still not the best. There were some parts about it that I didn't like the villain was pretty generic or whatever. Then we have the Avengers, the first time all these characters were assembled on the big screen. Now, I mean, watching the movie, I just don't think it deserves the amazing score, but it is great. I think I gave it the great score, but just watching it, just, you know, something about it, it just kept me from giving it the score of amazing. Now we have our good category. So not the best movies, but they're not bad either. So first off, we have Captain America the First Avenger. It's one of those movies where it's like, I'm not gonna just watch it all the time, like Spider-Man 2. But like, if it's on TV, if there's nothing else, I guess I'll just watch it. The Incredible Hulk, I only gave a good score because I didn't think it was a bad movie, but when looking at the big picture of the MCU, it doesn't really fit in that well. It works better as a standalone movie, but like, when you put it with the other MCU movies, it doesn't really fit in. It's just, none of the characters have come back except for Bruce Banner and General Ross, but Bruce Banner's been recasted, so when you go back to watch this movie, it doesn't feel like it's part of the MCU. Now you have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Like I mentioned earlier, I think that in terms of cinematography, special effects, and music, it is on par with the first movie, but everything else I think the first movie does better, except for the villain. Ego is a great villain, one of the good parts about this movie, but the thing that really drags this movie down is the comedy, and this is the worst example of comedy in the MCU. Comedy has always been like a problem with these movies, because comedy isn't bad, but a lot of movies, like, they're just overstuffed and they try to make everybody a comedian. They ruined Drax in this movie, and a reason that this movie isn't like amazing or great. It just wasn't as good as the first one, but it's not bad either. Now let's move over to our okay category, which is just in between. It's, you know, it's not the worst, it's not the best, it's just okay. So we have Thor: The Dark World. Might be a controversial pick for the okay category, but I think the cinematography is great. The movie looks really good. The action is good, but pretty much everything else is boring. Like, it's just whatever. Like, I don't really care much for this movie. Then we have Doctor Strange, which is another, I think, controversial pick, but it just wasn't very memorable for me. Like, yeah, the special effects were cool, but the story was kind of cliche. The villain was just, I don't even care, like, I don't even remember. Probably the worst MCU villain, maybe besides Ronan. It was just okay. It was that, I mean, that's all I really have to say about it. Now let's move over to the bad category. Now there's only one movie that I consider to be bad in the MCU, and that's Iron Man 3. Like I mentioned in my rant, because I did reviews for all the other ones, but the Iron Man 3 review was more of just a rant about the movie. I'm literally thoroughly convinced that the movie is only made to sell toys, because it ruins the Mandarin, ruins the Hall of Armors. You know, they try to give a finale to Iron Man, but then they undo everything in this movie in Avengers Age of Ultron, which is like the next movie that Iron Man's in. So this movie is completely irrelevant. If you literally never watch Iron Man 3, it will not make a difference to anything except, oh, he loses the arc reactor in his chest. So, you mean you might not even notice it. It's just a bad movie. And now looking at the terrible movies, there is none. I didn't think any of the MCU movies were terrible. Iron Man 3, I think, is the worst MCU movie. So yeah, that just about wraps it up. There are all my scores for the MCU movies so far. I've reviewed them all. It was fun reviewing all of the movies. Now, by the time you're seeing this, I'm going to be on a trip, on an adventure, on a journey, discovering who I am in my soul. That's not true at all, but I won't be able to see Infinity War until next week, which is when my review for the movie will be up. It'll probably be a lengthy review because there's probably a lot to talk about, but yeah. Anyway guys, if you did enjoy the Road to Infinity War series, leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time when I review Avengers Infinity War. Prepare myself for heartbreak. Better not kill Spider-Man. See ya.